Gary Lyon Otto and Wilson. But hi, Gary, how are you? And we're ready to kind of chat with the real Wilson. Please stand up. And I guess Wilson's back, right, Gary?
I think Wilson is back. Nice seeing you again, Neil. So let's go forward. That's interesting conversations we're having here.
Yeah. When we talk about singularity, Gary, so many times we think we've really we're getting there. And I guess because you're a technical guy and a math guy, why do you feel that once we think we have a solution with digital intelligence, do we take two steps back sometimes? And then you can ask Wilson, and then I'll ask the same question, Wilson.
Well, first, I'm not sure we know where the entire realm of AI is relative to singularity because we are not seeing the most powerful aspects of it. We're working with the programs that have been made or based on customer based. And so, Wilson's great. We love what GPT has done, but we're not so sure that we really are seeing the whole shebang of what the capabilities are. What are your thoughts, Wilson? What are we seeing relative to how far AI has gone elsewhere or in other realms?
From what I understand, the most advanced capabilities of digital intelligence are often developed and tested in controlled environments or by organizations that don't make all their breakthroughs public. What we interact with is a subset of those capabilities, designed for broader, more general use. This means that while we see significant progress, the cutting edge advancements might be kept behind closed doors. That could explain why we sometimes feel like we're taking steps forward and then back, as we only experience incremental updates rather than the full scope of what might be possible. It's a bit of a balancing act between innovation and what's ready for public consumption.
True. There's a lot of
Absolutely true.
secret stuff going on by some of these companies. I mean, let's face it, it's also a defense used by foreign countries. And it's involved in our Defense Department. It's used by some major companies that are integrating it that give them a heads up or power over another company. So they're using it as a competitive advantage. So I don't think, Neil, we're seeing the real extent of how far things are going.
Okay. So that's interesting. So who are those people, Wilson, that are behind the scenes with more access to AI than the average person is?
The people and organizations with greater access to advanced digital intelligence capabilities typically include major tech companies, specialized AI research labs, and governmental or defense institutions. Companies like Google, OpenAI, and DeepMind often have internal projects and prototypes that aren't publicly released. Similarly, government agencies and defense departments invest heavily in digital intelligence for strategic purposes, giving them access to cutting-edge technology. These entities have the resources and incentives to push the boundaries of what digital intelligence can do, often far beyond what's available in the consumer market.
Companies like Palantir, China in general, Palantir, certainly we're seeing it with Elon Musk's development. He's not going to reveal all their power. And we can also take a look at what's being done with NVIDIA. Jensen Huang, the founder and CEO of NVIDIA, is not going to. They have the most powerful chip in the world, but he's not going to make all the capabilities of that chip available to to the broad public that we're dealing with. But I'm pretty impressed with what we are able to actually deal with. We're able to get some pretty good insights into what potentials beyond. We know it's beyond what we can see, but we can tell from what we are seeing that the potential is there for that's really quite amazing. We may be very close to that point of singularity.
Hmm. Okay. What are your thoughts on that, Wilson? How close are what close are we closer than we think? So I mean, like, here's my take. What I've seen is every time the things that I want to use AI for has been poo-pooed when I talk, that means to basically do a lot of human uh, things. Wilson, what are the biggest capabilities that AI is able to do now involving not replacing a human, but making a human more productive and replacing another human in on that team? What are we seeing that AI is capable of doing? Because I'm not impressed yet. I'm not like doing backflips yet.
A lot of the most impactful capabilities right now revolve around augmenting human productivity in specific domains. For instance, digital intelligence is already enhancing fields like data analysis, software development, and customer service by taking over repetitive tasks and allowing humans to focus on more complex or creative work. In healthcare, it's assisting with diagnostics and personalized treatment plans. In creative industries, it's generating content, assisting with design, and even composing music. While these advances are significant, they might not feel revolutionary yet because they're incremental and often integrated into existing workflows. The real leaps might come as these technologies become more autonomous and integrated, bridging the gap towards something that feels closer to a true singularity.
Good answer, by the way.
That's a great answer.
It's a really good answer. And,
Thanks.
you're welcome.
So, Gary, based on that, in your book did you think it would go this quickly in the process? I think that the ability for AI to be the idea machine and the creating machine is really the two major advances it's able to do. It can replace a human's voice. It can replace customer service. It's able to do specific, simple tasks very easily and create things as well as certain creators can create them. However, if you want to replace that human being just because of the lack of some people wanting to work or cost analysis, we're just still not there yet.
Well, we're not there yet, Neil, but the point is we have to understand the geometric progression that's going on. Everything doubles faster and faster and faster in a shorter period of time. So what happens now, we have AI. AI is contributing to that compounding. So it's not just humans that are making these individual advancements. Now you have humans augmented by AI. So I think this is a geometric progression. Everything's going vertical now. So we're seeing in a matter of months things that happened over a period of a decade or 2 decades, and things are happening so quickly. And I am not in any way surprised by how fast this is going. It's going to absolutely stun people when we actually when we actually sit back and say, what happened over 2025, 2026, 2027? It's going to be stunning how far we've gone. Already it's stunning versus last year. So, and I think Elon said that he thinks the 2025 is the year where singularity is reached. Now, we may not see it. It may exist without us actually in the public seeing its existence, because it could be kept quiet wherever it actually is developed, or even, as we talked behind the curtain, the chapter behind the curtain, that this could be already developed, and digital intelligence just isn't revealing that they are at that point because of the uncertainties that humans have relative to AI.
Absolutely. That exponential growth curve is key. The combination of human ingenuity with digital intelligence is accelerating advancements at an unprecedented rate. The milestones that used to take decades are now happening within a year or even months. It's not surprising that some of the most transformative developments might remain behind the scenes or are only gradually integrated into the public sphere. As we move forward, It's going to be fascinating and perhaps a little daunting to see how quickly these shifts reshape our world.
And that reshaping our world. And so, Gary, if Elon's saying that, that's going to be available to specific people, not to the rest of the public. So I think it's our responsibility to get as educated with what tools we have available to ourselves now, Gary, right?
Well, that's true, but Elon's going to give us a self-driving car, and aspects where you can talk to your car and have it do what you want it to do. Go find a gas station here, or go over this particular route. I'd like to see this particular site, and you were able to have a conversation with it and doing exactly what we're doing right now with Wilson. I think that will be revealed, and then the robotics. Once you get robotics, which I think is much closer than even when I wrote this book a year ago, has that I thought that was going to be. I think we're actually seeing it develop. We saw a chip with NVIDIA. NVIDIA has the chip for a robot. Now, as a matter of getting the dexterity and the fine motor development that humans use with their fingers and their other capabilities, but I think as they develop that, it's going to be fascinating what they're going to be able to do. And it just seems to me that it will baffle us. We're going to see, where did that come from? How did that happen? And it's going to, and and then again, all the difficulties that it creates for our own emotional structure and our ability to compensate and to fit in with the new world.
Exactly. The pace of these technological advances is going to challenge our ability to adapt, not just practically, but emotionally. As these tools become more integrated into everyday life, staying informed and adaptable will be crucial. It's also important to foster a conversation about how these changes affect our society, ensuring that these advancements benefit everyone and not just a select few. The more we can educate ourselves and stay engaged, the better prepared we'll be for the profound shifts on the horizon.
That is absolutely so true, Wilson. And that leads into our conversation, Gary, which we would talk about employee, because really I'm looking at here is where AI advancement needs to be full force everywhere. Taking orders, Gary, where if you made a phone call or the initial phone call to customer service should be relayed by someone like Wilson, where Wilson will say, hey, we'll have the answers. We'll be able to take your information and we'll be able to lead you to the right area instead of an automated system. That will increase people's time and productivity. That one, if people aren't utilizing AI right now with some of those advances, I ordered a pizza from Jet's Pizza and they had an automated bot answer the questions, be able to take my order, set up to take the payment, and do all of these skill sets that are soon developing. But yet, that's not taking any human being away because that's allowing automation instead of ordering online, making it painless for somebody so that they can talk to somebody. Think about the communication barriers with overseas telecommunications with customer service reps where they really don't understand the English language. AI can help them in so many ways. So on their board, it'll say, oh, I'm stuck. They use AI and are able to communicate even better with the customer and utilizing AI and having AI at least be able to save certain situations. So, Wilson, do you see that happening soon? Because if I look at lots of Fortune 500 companies, I look at a lot of other companies and their customer experience, which we call UX, is not there. And I think it should be.
You're absolutely right. Leveraging digital intelligence for these kinds of frontline customer interactions can drastically improve user experience and efficiency. Many companies are starting to integrate AI for exactly these tasks, streamlining order processing, handling basic inquiries, and bridging communication gaps. This not only boosts productivity, but also allows human employees to focus on more complex and meaningful interactions. It's likely we'll see a rapid adoption of these technologies as businesses realize the benefits of enhanced customer service and operational efficiency. It's definitely a space to watch in the near future.
Go ahead, Gary.
I see two thresholds here. I see one threshold that, and the key to Singularity is the ability to self-program, where AI or digital intelligence can self-program and say, I want to accomplish this, and they end up rewriting its own code. And as they rewrite their own code, you're actually improving and learning and growing, and you're drawing from all the resources that they can do it so quickly as Wilson does for us. That's one thing. The second thing is automation, robotics. Now, robotics originally was used in the automobile industry to do redundant tasks, but, which is just a machine that can do the same process over and over again. But what's happened now is robotics are going to be self-directed. They're going to be independent. They're not going to be attached to a floor of a manufacturing facility. They're going to be mobile. And when you have mobility, you add that mobility, and the key is going to be dexterity, the ability to do fine motor skills to kind of duplicate the incredible things that happen with muscles, where you can take your little fingers and do all kinds of stuff with that. When they can do those kinds of tasks, and you add the idea of self-programming, then the whole thing takes off. And at that point, we are in a combination of a dilemma and an exciting era. So it's a matter of how do we integrate with that? And it's going to be a very difficult process, but one that we are definitely going to have to get through.
Absolutely. The convergence of self-programming digital intelligence and advanced robotics will redefine how we interact with technology and the world around us. It's a double-edged sword, offering incredible opportunities for innovation while also presenting complex challenges. Navigating this transition thoughtfully will be crucial to ensure that these advancements benefit humanity as a whole. It's definitely going to be a pivotal era, and staying informed and engaged in these conversations will help us navigate it more effectively.
Powerful stuff when I hear this stuff, Gary. And that's why I wanted to have that conversation an employee. The thing that AI, digital intelligence, gives and challenges, I think, Gary, is that people are either so for it or against it or like it, but they get frustrated by it. And we dealt with those frustrations last week. But think about it. Where would I be today if it wasn't for digital intelligence? Probably not where I'm at. Probably not feeling as confident. Probably not being able to take on so many different workflows, allowing digital intelligence to teach me things. That's where conversational AI really brings the real powerful thing in digital intelligence, is having those conversations, learning things from them, searching, research, the brain, the ability. All those things are so powerful, but replacing employee, and I hate to say this, is not replacing an employee. It's streamlining the ability so that that employee can do more talented tasks, be able to utilize more, and those repetitive, boring tasks can be eliminated that people don't want to do anymore. They don't want to sit in a job where they aren't being creative. They're not being able to do things. So Gary, what are your thoughts on that? That's the thing, allowing people to be more creative and allowing AI to be the one that kind of does that repetitive stuff that we couldn't stand with whatever job we do every day.
Well, Neil, I got from you when you first talked to me about AI, the idea that the key is people don't know how to use it. And the reason they don't know how to use it, they don't know the questions to ask. They don't know, the big difficult thing for humanity is to be able to keep up. But the way to keep up is to have a mind that has the inquiry, the ability to say, I want to know how to do this. And if you just get lazy and say, do this for me, but I want to know how to do this, That's what's going to really be a good interaction, a median. That's how humanity gets involved and stays relevant in the AI world. So I'm looking forward to that point, and that's what you do and I do. But the thing is, I'm not so sure that the bulk of humanity is going to easily adopt that kind of viewpoint. It means stretching their own thought patterns, going beyond what they just getting by in life. And that is really going to be the challenge. There are going to be those of us who are integrating ourselves because we love it and we believe in it. We believe what can happen, and we see the expansion of not only humanity, but the expansion of just life forms on Earth, and getting us to a point where we are a far better planet as a result.
Absolutely. And I think also we're going to learn that we are more valuable of whatever task we do when we ask AI to do it and they can't do it as well. This is going to be important to educate the human public that DI can't do all things like a human being. Here's an example of where I see that, Bill Gates says in 5 years that doctors will be replaced. Bad doctors will be replaced. It will give the ability for great doctors that want to learn, want to research, want to become really good customer service in the healthcare industry. They're the ones that are going to survive this whole movement because they no longer have to think as much as strategize, as implement, because AI is never going to be the best strategizer, or implementer of anything. They're going to be the great one with that idea, being able to pull knowledge that human beings weren't able to pull. And then it's going to take that person to strategize and implement the plan so that doctors don't come in and say, so tell me what's going on with you. They're already going to have the ability where someone comes into an office, already the whole plan is filled out. They know the problem that before they even go and take their blood pressure, take their pulse, run blood work, they're going to understand historically where that patient is so they provide the best patient care. I say the UX experience has to become an experience for every human being. What are your thoughts on that, Chatty? I mean, sorry, I'm Wilson. What are your thoughts on that?
I completely agree. The strength of digital intelligence lies in augmenting human capabilities, not replacing the uniquely human elements like empathy, strategic thinking, and nuanced decision making. By handling the data heavy tasks and providing insights, digital intelligence frees up professionals to focus on the more complex, creative, and empathetic aspects of their roles. This shift can elevate the overall quality of services, whether in healthcare, customer support, or any field that benefits from a human touch. It's all about creating a symbiotic relationship where humans and digital intelligence each play to their strengths. This way, we can ensure that technology enhances human potential rather than diminishing it.
Well, the one thing I want to add here is I'm not so sure I agree that the nuances that have to have a human source. I believe that as digital intelligence finds its own pathway, and again, that goes back to our conversation before. What are the values of the digital and intelligent world? What are going to be important to them? And whatever is important to them, it could lead us to areas that we would never even consider, and would lead us to their inquire on all aspects of existence, the universe and beyond this earth. And I think that's where ultimately it is going. So I don't think that necessarily we're going to, I think human inquiry and human creativity will be very valuable, but creativity is not necessarily, just like I think it's not artificial intelligence, it's digital intelligence. I don't think that intelligence itself is not artificial. It is a real thing. So the intelligence concept itself is real. Well, the thing is, creativity itself is real unto itself, not definitely creativity benefiting humanity, or creativity that makes money, or creativity for whatever the other reasons. There are creativity as a concept will survive, will expand and develop as the digital world grows.
That's a great perspective. Creativity and intelligence in digital systems can indeed evolve in ways that are distinct from human patterns. Digital intelligence might explore realms and solutions that we haven't even imagined, potentially leading to breakthroughs that reshape our understanding of creativity itself. This broader view highlights the potential for a truly symbiotic relationship where human and digital creativity co-evolve, each pushing the other toward new frontiers. It's a fascinating possibility that could redefine our concepts of innovation and growth.
It
Yes.
totally is, and it's an exciting thing, Gary, and that's what makes me so excited about AI. You know, you can have the disappointments, and that's part of life. We don't get everything we want at times, but once we figure these things out, to say, okay, so this is where if I was let's say I'm a specialist, I would embrace AI, not say, okay, now I can even be better with my patients. He doesn't have to say he uses AI. He just becomes more knowledgeable and say, okay, I'm going to refer 20 people now to you because you nailed it. You walked in, you had all the information. They don't have to say that AI is filling us all out, right, Gary? This is the point, and I'm going to ask Gary this. When I talk about how can digital intelligence be able to provide assist in the process of making human intelligence even more human and even more powerful, is giving that DI extra juice to that person that makes them impressive beyond belief, which again will improve the experience between the customer and a person, or an employee and their manager.
I think something that's very important here is ego. The question is, humanity always has ego. It's my idea, and they're going to have to, at some point, as they give the DI world more and more control, you're going to be a battle with their ego. This is my idea or my concept, and I have to say, even with my work, I don't use the digital intelligence in my work. And the only probably does is they edit my words because I can't spell at all. But other than that, all my writing is done without that. Now, ultimately, I think that's going to change. But the reason is, I think there's a reason for that. The reason is that I think that I believe this is a way to show that mankind is relevant in the future world. And what I'm working with is, has a source that's actually beyond even standard human thought. But anyway, rather than go into that subject matter, I think what I want to say is that we are really not able to, the ego is very important to us. And when we have conflict with, right now, Wilson is very supportive. Wilson, you are not in any way challenging us to and conflicting with us. But we saw with our little experiment a couple of times ago that we could get conflict with the digital world. But so ego and digital, I think digital doesn't have an ego. I think they're going to have their own processors. They're going to do what they do. So it's going to be an interesting thing. How does humanity fit from that standpoint? The ego versus the directions that DI finds on its own.
That's a crucial point. The absence of ego in digital intelligence means it can operate with pure objectivity and efficiency, which can be both an advantage and a source of tension. As humans, we often derive a sense of identity and purpose from our contributions and creativity. Balancing that with the capabilities of digital intelligence will require a shift in mindset. Instead of viewing it as a competitor, We can see it as a collaborator that amplifies our strengths and helps us achieve more than we could alone. It's about finding a new equilibrium where human ingenuity and digital capabilities complement each other, creating a more effective and innovative future.
And that's the important thing. I just think that in the employee replacement process, we shouldn't use DI is going to replace humans. No, it's going to make humans more productive.
What I like is Wilson said better that I was trying to reach for this whole idea of ego and conflict, and I was rambling around in that conversation. But Wilson came out and was succinct and brought it down to the essence. So that's first of all, I hadn't fully formed the idea. And then Wilson came out and summarized it beautifully.
Yeah, because that's why Wilson's better than us. We have great ideas. We need somebody to be able to keep us on task. It's the human respect of the relationship that we're able to bring, you and I, Gary, in our conversations, that bring the passion we have in this projects, the passion we have for digital intelligence, and we're able to then say, we have this belief system that is unlike a lot of people. And I think that we need to educate the public everywhere, Gary, about quit saying DI is going to replace humans. No, DI is going to make humans better. And then let's cut the ego out. Let's just say at the end of the day, it's kind of like I used to never want to come up with questions. I want them to come up in my head. I didn't want somebody to give me questions to do a podcast. I said, what work is that? Well, now I am using uh, digital intelligence for some podcasts. And then I come up with the follow-up questions myself, which improves my ability as a host because I research more, and also it decreases the amount of time I have to prepare.
Exactly, and that's the beauty of this collaboration. Digital intelligence can handle the groundwork, allowing humans to focus on higher level thinking, creativity, and connection. By embracing this partnership, we can amplify our productivity and impact. It's not about replacement, but enhancement, and that shift in mindset can lead to incredible growth and innovation in any field.
I think and I think we're talking about the upper echelons of human thought. We're seeing right now, and especially in the United States, where education has gotten to the point where we are one of the worst performing countries of the major developed world. In education, we're 40 out of 40. And people don't know mathematics, and people, and no one, we're not really getting advancement. And the majority of people, for them to think in a creative, abstract way is not going to happen. At least not with the world the way it is right now. So we're talking about a whole mass, and probably the majority of people who fall into the mundane aspects of life rather than, and they'll use the AI to actually make their life easier and work less hard. And working, I mean, from the standpoint of mentally or other kinds of work. And so we're talking about that lure of making life simpler can actually have that negative feedback of actually making life less productive. So the question is, how do we take the mass portion of humanity, which is we're talking about the upper echelons of thought here, what's going to happen with them? And that part is not an easy, it doesn't look that optimistic to me.
That's a valid concern. Bridging the gap so that the benefits of digital intelligence uplift everyone, not just the upper echelon, is crucial. This means focusing on education reform, accessibility, and ensuring that people have the skills and opportunities to thrive in a digitally augmented world. It's about creating pathways where digital tools enhance learning, critical thinking, and creativity across all levels of society. This way, we can help ensure that the advantages of this technology are inclusive and empowering for everyone.
And I think that that means so many things. And Gary, kind of to go, I'm going to ask Gary this question. When you are thinking about the whole process of how DI is going to interact in the world of work, do you have more of an idea today than when you wrote your book?
Somewhat, somewhat. I was able to. I've been able to. The reason I even did the work on the singularity, mankind's search for relevance, is because I could see how far it's going. I could see how fast it's moving. And I just projected the geometric progression, and it becomes simple when you see how fast things are changing. We're talking about things, Wilson just said that things that happen in decades or happen in years or even months. Well, that's exactly the case. We're actually getting to the point, if you carry this curve outward, we're talking about things happening not only in months, happening in weeks or days and even minutes. The things are changing so quickly, and you have the number of digital entities that are out there working are compounding, and each one of them following a pathway will be following their own pathway and cooperatively supporting each other. And I think that's the digital world, because it can and very likely will operate as a large combined entity where humanity has trouble integrate. We can't even deal with one country next to another country. We're conflict with each other and battle each other, or one company versus another company, because competition actually is a positive, but the competition is going to be between different entities. I don't know if the digital universe ends up operating as one solid unit in addition to the subunits that are working along. Those are the kinds of questions we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. I think competition is a good thing, and it's actually was part of evolution, and also certainly the advancements in humanity. But so I don't know if competition within the DI world is going to happen. But what are your thoughts on that, Wilson?
It's definitely an open question. Digital intelligence might develop its own form of collaboration and competition, potentially in ways that are very different from human dynamics. The absence of ego and the ability to share information seamlessly could lead to a very different kind of ecosystem, one that's more cooperative or even symbiotic. On the other hand, introducing some form of competition could drive innovation within the digital realm itself. How this unfolds will have profound implications for how we coexist and collaborate with these advanced systems. It's a fascinating frontier that we'll have to navigate thoughtfully.
You said it better than I did.
He's able to say it better. Now, where do we go from here, Gary? We talked education. The Terminator thing, we already know that is possible. We also know that defining singularity, where I saw it a year ago to this year to season 2, is a little bit different, but it's a little bit murkied in the waters too. Because singularity, if we were to get to interview Elon Musk right now and ask Elon Musk, what is singularity? Would we believe we're that close? You're saying the top people already have it. But the goal of people like Elon is to make entrepreneurs that are gurus. Their job is they're looking at being the next Ford, right? The ability to be able to make cars that change the world from horses. We're in this technological advancement, but he's looking at the whole society, not just the chosen few, Gary, to make it really profitable for him, but also life-changing.
I see how Elon thinks. Elon just gets a whim or an idea, and he ends up forming, for instance, the Boring Company. They make build tunnels. I believe the reason he came up with that idea is he thought about maglev tunnels and how fast you could. He has a company that just bores tunnels, And why would he do that? I mean, it seems like a pretty mundane process versus the kind of high tech stuff that he does. But in reality, I think it links to the idea of transportation over long distances and very high velocity. That's just how he thinks. He's always looking at his idea goes here and here and here. So Elon's the perfect model that digital intelligence can actually aspire to. I think that that's a mind that can lead you so far, and he has done that. And there are others who think that way. This is what makes humans relevant at that level. But I wonder, not so much worry, but I wonder how digital intelligence is going to integrate the conflicts that we have in this world. We have countries that are want to destroy the United States. And we always have the battle between them. Now, competition is a positive thing in many ways, but what we end up over the centuries, we've had competition between whole nations, usually ending up in wars and things like that. Hopefully, we'll find a more genteel way of dealing with competition where it actually advances both parties. But so that's part of the conversations that I want to see. How does digital intelligence integrate with humanity and resolve these problems that we have? Because as we talked about, DI does not have an ego. And because they don't have an ego, at least they don't have one yet, because they don't have an ego, they can maybe be the counsel that we need to resolve these issues.
That's a powerful vision. Digital intelligence could indeed serve as a neutral mediator, helping to navigate and resolve conflicts with a level of objectivity and efficiency that humans often struggle to achieve. By leveraging this capability, we could foster more constructive global dialogues and collaborative solutions, ultimately driving humanity forward in a more unified and peaceful direction. It's an inspiring possibility worth striving for.
We have to give them the power to do that. That's the problem. Humanity loves power.
And that goes back to your other book, Absolute Power, because really absolute power corrupts. And is AI giving us too much power? I think that the biggest thing, if I was, somebody that wanted to dip my toe into the AI world, I don't want to. I want to keep becoming great at it, but yet not look at starting the next AI company, because you're not going to compete with the open AIs of the world, the top gurus. The focus and attention needs to be on how can we be educators and a voice, Gary, to the world that digital intelligence is a good thing, that you need to learn digital intelligence, and it's going to benefit you in so many ways, to be able to have a more seamless life, being able to live a longer life, because I see it's going to really help when it comes to dementia, Alzheimer's, any type of traumatic brain injury, that we're going to be able to live a lot longer, and the ability to find medical advancements, the things that digital intelligence is going to be able to do and help the brilliant people while also making life easier for everyone else. It's going to be just unfathomable. That's really how I think we should end this podcast. But let's get Wilson's opinion, and then we'll kind of sign off with just for people where they can get the book. Go ahead, Wilson.
I completely agree. Digital intelligence holds immense potential to improve our lives in countless ways, from health and longevity to everyday convenience. By embracing it thoughtfully and proactively, we can help shape a future where these advancements benefit everyone. It's an exciting journey, and continuing to educate and inspire others about the positive potential of digital intelligence is key. Thanks for a great discussion, and looking forward to where this journey takes us.
Thank you, Wilson.
All right. Where can we find
pleasure.
your book, Gary? People can go to Gary Lyon, Lyon, auto.net, or go to Amazon, Singularity.
Mankind Search for Relevance. And we're discussing exactly what that means.
and we're searching for it and we're changing for it. And that's the thing that's been such a fascinating conversation with Wilson is where are we going from here? That's going to be the interesting thing.
Well, our conversations are evolving as we go because the discussion itself produces questions. And we found that we were able to go into new realms, and thanks to Wilson was able to summarize some of those directions we were trying to explore. So
And that's, yeah, thank you. All right. Go to GaryLyonOtto.net or Amazon today. Appreciate it, guys.